It's here first from IPR News. I'm Megan McKinney. The governor has signed a few bills into law, including one restricting access to abortion medications, and Democratic candidate for governor Rob Sand continues to raise the most money out of all the candidates for governor. It's Wednesday, May 20th. Iowans will only be able to receive abortion medications in person under a new law the governor signed yesterday, taking away the option for telehealth and mail. Patients would have to pick up the medications in a healthcare setting, like a pharmacy, clinic, or hospital. They would also have to sign a form showing they were given information promoted by abortion rights opponents, including health risks with medication abortions. In the State House, Democrats criticized the bill for making it harder for Iowans to access medical care. Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court preserved access to abortion medications through mail and telehealth, while a case from Louisiana continues to move through the lower courts. Governor Reynolds signed a couple more bills. Iowa minors will have to have their parents' consent to be vaccinated against sexually transmitted infections. Minors in Iowa can seek care on their own to prevent or treat an STI, but the new law would require permission when it comes to vaccines for things like HPV or hepatitis B. Under a separate bill signed by the governor, a medical provider can decline to provide services that violate their conscience. The law says a doctor or hospital exercising their conscience in good faith can't face civil or criminal liability. All three laws take effect in July. Federal judges across the Midwest have largely rejected the Trump administration's mandatory detention policy for immigrants. But as the Midwest Newsroom's Luke Nozica reports, the legal landscape is changing.
Most judges granted bond hearings or release to immigrants challenging their detention, according to an analysis by the Midwest Newsroom and the Marshall Project. But an appeals court covering Iowa, Missouri, and Nebraska recently ruled in favor of the administration, prompting lawyers to shift gears. Suchita Mather is an attorney with the American Immigration Council. She says immigrants who have been in the U.S. for years and have no criminal history are being held for months.
The government has to make no showing that they're dangerous or a flight risk, and they can be held in prison-like conditions for as long as it takes for them to finish their removal case.
The issue over mandatory detention is likely heading to the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm Luke Nozica, the Midwest Newsroom.
4 of the 5 Republicans running for governor shared their takes on improving Iowa's water quality during a debate that aired last night on KCCI TV. IPR's Katerina Sostarek reports.
Eddie Andrews, Brad Sherman, Zach Lane, and Adam Steen were asked if water quality practices should continue to be voluntary or if more regulations are needed. Sherman says government needs to find a balance.
We don't want to force people, but there is a place for government to step in and regulate and say we have to protect life.
Steen says he hates government regulation.
I believe in our farmers. I believe in Iowans. I believe they're doing what they're called to do, and I believe that they're doing everything they can do to protect their families and the families across Iowa.
Lane says the state should provide more incentives for farmers to reduce nitrate runoff, and Andrews says more education for farmers is needed. Early voting is underway in the primary, and Election Day is June 2nd. I'm Katerina Sostarek, IPR News.
New campaign fundraising reports show State Auditor Rob Sand has continued to raise far more money than all the other candidates for Iowa governor. Sand, the only Democrat in the race, raised more than $9.6 million from January 1st to May 14th. A bit less than half of that total came from his wife and in-laws. 5 Republicans are running for their party's nomination for governor. Businessman Zach Lane led the GOP field in fundraising. He raised $980,000. Congressman Randy Feenstra raised about $740,000. Former state agency director Adam Steen raised nearly $500,000. Former state representative Brad Sherman raised about $150,000, and Representative Andy Andrews raised $15,000. You're listening to Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. Thanks for listening today, and I hope you have a great Wednesday.